Not every actor or actress is fortunate enough to look back upon their list of works and wonder upon their exploits as a head-to-toe collection of greatness. Even stars make absolute stinkers after all. For example, Chris Hemsworth reevaluated his appearance in Thor: The Dark World as meh, and stands as proof that even the God of Thunder is not infallible. So let's take a look at some others, shall we, today? As I'm Jules, this is Whatculture.com, and these are 10 actors who trashed their own movies. Number 10. Mark Wahlberg, The Happening. Even at the time of its 2008 release, it was easy to see that not even Mark Wahlberg's funky bunch flavor could rescue a very genuine worst of all-time contender. M. Night Shyamalan delivered us a whopper with this one. A sham of an attempt at a biopsychological horror, Wahlberg himself has admitted it didn't deserve to see daylight. Speaking on a press tour for The Fighter in 2010, Wahlberg said that Amy Adams dodged a bullet by missing out on the role of his wife in The Happening, which went instead to Zooey Deschanel. To this day, moviegoers don't fully understand what the film was actually about, and it didn't sound as though Wahlberg did either. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he added, "It is what it is. F***ing trees, man. The plants. F*** it. You can't blame me for not wanting to try and play a science teacher. At least I wasn't playing a cop or a crook." You may not have been playing a crook, Mark, but you robbed audiences of an entry fee in 90 minutes of their lives. Number 9. The entire Twilight cast. The Twilight Saga. The Twilight series holds a special significance for its legions of sparkly skin enthusiasts, but they may be pained to learn that a number of its stars were actually glad to see the vampiric film franchise come to an end. Take the lead actress, Kirsten Stewart, who questioned some of the scripting and vampire motives after wrapping the series of 5 films in 4 years. Specifically, she told Graham Norton of her bemusement at sex being her character's first instinct after bearing a hellspawn. Or Kellen Lutz, who played another vampire in the film's main Cullen brood but found fault with the design of the vampires themselves, which is a pretty substantial objection to have. He told the Document Journal, via Huffington Post, "I didn't like the script. How scary would a glimmering vampire really be? It just didn't make any sense." Anna Kendrick was still in the infancy of her Hollywood career, but was actually glad to be cut from the film's closing chapter, Breaking Dawn Part 2. In 2012, she said it would have been nice not to have to traverse into the mucky waters of talking about Twilight. But the most aggravated of all of the Twilight stars was actually its brightest, Robert Pattinson, who played eye candy Edward Cullen, but has long been pretty open regarding his disdain for the film's entire production. Number 8. Shia LaBeouf, The Transformers series. Never one to keep his opinions hidden, Shia LaBeouf has on several occasions sounded off regarding his dislike for the Transformers films and some of those involved in their production. LaBeouf was still a rising asset in Hollywood when he was cast as Sam for 2007's Transformers, but a little more than a decade later, he looks back on the series with regret and told Screen Rant, "My hang-up with those films was that they felt irrelevant. They felt dated as fuck. You come upon these stories about Easy Rider and Raging Bull and De Niro and Scorsese and Hopper, and you find value in what they do. Meanwhile, you're chasing energon crystals. It's very hard to keep doing what you're doing when you feel like it's the antithesis of your purpose on this planet." Number 7. Sally Field, The Amazing Spider-Man. Upon casting Academy Award winner Sally Field as Aunt May for the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, director Mark Webb hailed the actress's real, genuine affection, and while she wasn't a fan of the movie itself, her reasons for taking the part illustrate that quality to a T. Field is a half-century veteran of Hollywood, debuting in the early 60s before exploding with Best Actress accolades for her role in the lead 1979 classic Norma Ray. It's no great surprise comics aren't really up the alley of a 71-year-old. She was fulfilling a fleeting wish for a longtime friend. In 2016, she appeared on The Howard Stern Show and said, "It's not my kind of movie, but my friend Laura was the producer, and we knew it would be her last film. She was my first producing partner, and she was a spectacular human. It was really just for my friend." Before going on to talk about her role, it's really hard to find a three-dimensional character in it. You work it as much as you can, but you can't put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Number 6. Mickey Rourke, Iron Man 2. Mickey Rourke has been to the bottom of the barrel and back again, so it's no surprise he hasn't as much of a filter for making his feelings known in the often masqueraded world of Hollywood. And it wasn't so much Iron Man 2 itself that Rourke wasn't pleased with in the end, but more so the end product from his character, Ivan. The son of the original Whiplash, who takes on the same role in the sequel, is raised out of a Russian gulag, but Rourke felt his creative spin on the character was limited, and so while on a press tour in 2011, he said, "Going to work for Marvel and then breaking Favreau's balls and just wanting a one-dimensional villain. So the performance I tried to bring to him ends up on the fucking floor." That could cause you not to care as much, not to put that effort in when you try to make an intelligent bad guy or a bad guy who justifies what his reasons are. Maybe Rourke felt that his portrayal of Ivan was butchered. Maybe Rourke butchered his portrayal of Ivan. Who knows? Number 5. George Clooney, Batman and Robin. Several decades have passed since George Clooney helped bring us Batman and Robin, for many one of the darker moments in comic book movie history, and that's given old George plenty of time to get his apologies in. The problems with the 1997 Batman flick are myriad, and Clooney being a generally bad fit for the Caped Crusader was just one of them. The script is poor, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a very questionable Mr. Freeze. Has anyone found out why they put nipples on the Batsuit yet? But Clooney has made use of his time in saying sorry for the critical flop, such as during his 2015 appearance on The Graham Norton Show, where he professed to previously accepting that he destroyed the entire Batman franchise. Thankfully, the industry saw fit to persevere with the world's greatest detective as an on-screen character, with Christian Bale and, to a lesser extent, Ben Affleck, since taking much more successful turns as Batman. Number 4. Katherine Heigl, Knocked Up. Now, it'd be fair to say the headliners amongst Katherine Heigl's credits tend to tread a similar path along the romantic comedy route, but the actress took umbrage with the script of Knocked Up, which was her Hollywood lead role break. Here she plays an underprepared and panicky mother-to-be whose dimwit stoner baby daddy Seth Rogen is tasked with bringing order to a lifestyle that has utterly none. Director Judd Apatow perhaps paints Rogen as the cool, laid-back father and Heigl as the crotchety, pent-up nag Alison Scott, or so said Heigl at least, as she told Vanity Fair in 2008. It was a little sexist. It paints the women as shrews, as humorless and uptight, and it paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. It exaggerated the characters, and I had a hard time with it on some days. I'm playing such a bitch. Why is she such a killjoy? Why is this how you're portraying women? 98% of the time, it was an amazing experience, but it was hard for me to love the movie. Apatow has defended his story as an honest reflection, but Heigl clearly would have taken a different route with the character of Allison. Number 3. Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds' public shaming of his critically panned Green Lantern release is now well known, surpassing the usual format and creeping into several examples of his work since. From Wade Wilson begging his captor to not make the super suit green or animated in Deadpool, to another Easter egg in the sequel where he goes back in time to prevent his real-life self from taking the role. Green Lantern was bad. We all know that. And Reynolds is a man of the people who even once told Entertainment Weekly he'd failed to see the final cut of the film, giving some sense as to just how highly he regards it. Thankfully, the chance to play the merc with a mouth arose, and arguably the greatest actor/character marriage in comic film history came about for Reynolds. It ain't easy being green. Number 2. Jim Carrey, Kick-Ass 2. Jim Carrey received a bombardment of media coverage for staging a call to arms, no pun intended, against his own movie Kick-Ass 2 for its, well, excessive use of arms. Carrey, who stars as Captain Stars and Stripes, pulled the plug on promotion of the Kick-Ass sequel due to its gratuitous violence, tweeting, "I did Kick-Ass 2 a month before Sandy Hook, and now, in all good conscience, I can't support that level of violence. My apologies to others involved with the film. I'm not ashamed of it, but recent events have caused a change in my heart." Kick-Ass 2 concluded production in November 2012. 1 month before the Sandy Hook school shooting, so it's understandable Carrey's heightened awareness regarding gun violence led to a change of heart. It's a fine line in cinema. Some see an accurate portrayal of violence as crucial to facing the world's fears, while others see it as unnecessary exposure to the dark side of life. Carrey may be the king of comedy, but he failed to see the punchline in the end with Kick-Ass 2. And number 1, Ben Affleck, Daredevil. Few alive in the glorious superhero film days of 2003 will forget Affleck's turn as Daredevil, entertaining opposite future ex-wife-to-be Jennifer Garner, and the actor himself certainly won't forget. Affleck said of his role as Matt Murdock at a Times talk in 2016, "Part of it was I wanted for once to get one of those movies and do it right, to do a good version. I hate Daredevil so much." Now, hate is an awfully strong word. It's safe to say we'd all likely rather watch an episode of Charlie Cox's portrayal of the Man Without Fear, but that 2003 Daredevil movie will always hold a special place. Garner as Elektra, Colin Farrell as Bullseye, and Michael Clarke Duncan as Wilson Fisk. It's so corny that hate feels like the wrong word to be used here. But still, for Ben Affleck, that is definitely the word he chose.